Apollo 11 astronaut reveals spooky secret about a mission to the far side of the moon. Let's jump into it. Let's see a suggestion via Discord. Check it out. That we're looking at, I'm not sure exactly, but that may be generated.
However,
Guys,
there was one more.
so really quickly, Mike Collins never actually touched the moon. He was in the command module that basically circled the moon in its entirety, right? I think he was basically alone for like 20 something hours or so, guys. So yeah, whatever he has to say is going to absolutely be intriguing. That's just it's going to be very intriguing because he saw things that no one else saw specifically at the time, guys.
Everyone remembers Neil Armstrong's iconic statement as he took his first steps on the moon. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. This statement was well Chanel'd, considering the situation in which it was uttered and the enormity of the situation. Buzz Aldrin followed Armstrong as the two gentlemen astronauts explored the new terrain. Michael Collins was the third astronaut on the mission. Unfortunately, he could not join them on the walk around the moon. He was required to stay in the Moon Orbiting Command Module. The moon has been a natural wonder for humans for the longest time, a wonder we indulged in figuring out to the fullest and the best of our capacity. Before modern gadgets and telescopes were invented, our ancestors studied the moon with limited equipment. They charted the moon's phases, figured out how long a lunar eclipse took, and associated the moon with various myths and legends. They figured out that the moon controlled the tides and influenced our calendars. Some even believe that the moon can affect mental health. The first missions to the moon were made
those some are crazies, right? But I mean, do your thing.
By sending unmanned probes into orbiters such as the Soviet Lunar and the American Ranger and Surveyor programs. These missions provided useful information about the conditions and geology of the moon. With each discovery about the moon came the desire to send humans to the moon. The desire became more intense during the Cold War, when the space race between the United States and the USSR was a thing of national pride and technological superiority. The US launched the Apollo mission in 1961. This mission aimed to send a man to the moon and return him safely by the decade's end. This was a big deal, requiring much funding. The Apollo program involved several stages of development and testing. Some of these tests included suborbital and orbital flights, rendezvous and docking maneuvers, lunar orbiting and landing simulations, and extravehicular activities. The pinnacle of the Apollo program was the historic Apollo mission. The Apollo mission took off on July 16, 1969. On July 20, 1969, the world watched in awe as the shuttle descended on the moon's surface. The three-man crew consisted of Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. After reaching a lunar orbit, Armstrong and Aldrin separated from Collins in the lunar module Eagle, as Collins stayed behind to man the command module. At precisely 2:56 a.m. GMT, the world watched with bated breaths as Armstrong took the first steps on the moon. Armstrong was followed closely by Aldrin, and both men spent 2 hours gathering samples and performing scientific experiments. After all the activities, the men concluded by planting the American flag on the moon. Both men reconnected with their colleague Collins in the main shuttle to begin their journey back to Earth. On July 20, career as a test pilot and an astronaut. He was born in Rome, Italy, where his father served. His father was a United States military officer who served as an attaché. Collins grew up a military brat and, as such, moved frequently and lived in several countries during his childhood. He attended St. Albans School in Washington. It was at St. Albans Collins developed an interest in aviation and astronomy. In 1952, Collins graduated from the military academy at West Point and chose to join the Air Force. He became a fighter pilot and flew missions in the Korean War. Later in his career, Collins attended the Air Force Test Pilot School at Edwards Air Force Base in California. Here, he tested various aircraft, including fighter jets and bombers. In 1963, NASA selected Michael Collins as one-third of the group of astronauts, along with Buzz Aldrin. Collins trained for the Gemini and Apollo programs, which aimed to achieve crewed orbital flights and lunar landings. Collins made his first spaceflight in 1966 as the pilot of Gemini 10 alongside astronaut John Young. The two astronauts performed 2 rendezvous with other spacecraft, and Collins performed 2 spacewalks. Collins was originally supposed to be on the Apollo 8 mission, but had to be taken off due to a surgery he had to undergo. The surgery sidelined him from the Apollo 8 mission, but he was later reassigned to the Apollo 11 mission. I guess it worked out well in the end because Collins got to be a part of the crew that would land on the moon for the first time, which is a monumental feat. Collins was the command module pilot, a role that may or may not have relegated him to the background.
Yeah, it immediately did. Definitely. And it basically took away some of his rock star status.
This does not, however, make him any less important than any other person on that mission.
Absolutely not.
Collins's role as pilot was a very important one. As the pilot, he was saddled with the responsibility of guiding and maintaining the command module Columbia to serve as a mothership for the mission. In the vastness of space, while Armstrong and Aldrin embarked on an exploration of our moon, Collins stayed behind piloting the lunar module. The role was a complex one. Collins was responsible for the docking procedure. The docking procedure meant Collins had to see the successful detaching of the Eagle carrying Armstrong and Aldrin. An error at this point would have jeopardized the entire mission. After the lunar module departed for the moon's surface, Collins found himself alone in the Columbia. This period has always been regarded as one of deep isolation for Collins, but they couldn't be more wrong. Collins had so much to do in those moments. His task list was heavy and consisted of monitoring the systems, maintaining communication lines with mission control, and preparing for critical rendezvous and docking procedures with the lunar module.
Right, he couldn't miss it.
After it was sent from the lunar surface. In fact, without Collins, the mission would not have gone so flawlessly.
Right, I mean, he did have to basically catch it.
The rendezvous and docking was one of the most difficult parts of the mission. It required Collins to precisely calculate and execute a series of maneuvers. The entire process was riddled with numerous potential pitfalls. Any slight miscalculation would have seen the lunar module Armstrong and Aldrin used to tour the moon separated from the command module, throwing the entire mission into jeopardy. This would have compromised the safety of Collins's crew members and the success of the entire mission.
Yeah, guys, 'cause I'm not even sure that if Collins was to miss them, let's say, we could do anything about that. To be honest here, I don't think that we, at that specific time in history, even more so, even now, for the most part, guys. Now I think we could, right? But back then specifically, if Collins would have missed the lunar module would have just been out there, guys. We would have lost, absolutely lost Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, guys.
Collins also made sure the command module was always in shape, as the module was their only transportation back to Earth. The maintenance of the command module was crucial, and Collins had to ensure that the spaceship systems, including life support, communication, and propulsion, were all functioning optimally. To be clear, Michael Collins's role went beyond the mechanical tasks we are droning on about now. Collins was the main source of communication between the crew and mission control back on Earth. As Armstrong and Aldrin went around on the lunar rover, Collins ensured all photographs and lunar observations were returned to mission control in real time. These observations, promptly sent back to Earth, provided valuable information about the moon's makeup. Now, there was one aspect of Collins's duties that went beyond anyone we mentioned earlier. It was said to have held such an impact on him psychologically. As the middleman between the crew on the moon and mission control back on Earth, he understood that if anything were to happen on that mission, he would be required to make the trip back to Earth by himself. Collins carried out his duties with incredible calm and composure, not minding that he would not be able to go out and explore the moon's surface with his colleagues. He remained calm and focused, ensuring mission control back on Earth received information promptly and steadily. Collins's unwavering dedication to his tasks was commendable in all of this. All executions were carried out precisely and successfully, leading to the completion of the Apollo 11 mission. Collins also played an important role in the Trans-Earth Injection, TEI. TEI is a critical maneuver that involves firing the spacecraft's engines to leave lunar orbit and set the course back to Earth. Once more, Collins's technical skills and precision were required and were key to the successful execution of this maneuver. Collins was literally the backbone of this entire mission.
Yeah, without him, yeah, absolutely. I mean, everyone would just been stuck. And definitely need to give him some type of like accommodation, let's say, right? Or commendations specifically for him being there by himself for over 21 hours. Because, all right, imagine, no sleep.
He represented true sportsmanship and camaraderie, representing the mission's togetherness and humanity,
And then being
despite
shocked the
being
whole
physically
time.
separated from his crew and assuming a more behind-the-scene role. Despite taking the back seat, Collins is a testament to the collaborative and collective effort that defined the Apollo 11 mission from the beginning till the crew landed safely back on Earth. Some people speak about the alone time Collins spent on the spaceship and how it may have likely affected him psychologically. Surely the mission must have left its mark on him profoundly, but what did he discover about himself and the rest of humanity? What are the things this lone astronaut pondered upon during his alone times on the ship? As the lunar module, which carried his crew members, disengaged from the ship and onto the moon's surface, Collins remained on board to command the ship, as we have previously discussed. On the command module, Collins remained off the moon's surface, only orbiting around it. He spent a total of 21 hours in lunar orbit.
Yeah.
In each orbit, Collins spent 48 minutes of it in radio silence. Not a peep from his colleagues on the moon's surface or a message from mission. While most would have been going nuts with the silence, Collins describes it as serene
Guys, I'm not doing these weird cuts, guys.
solitude rather than feeling stark loneliness. Collins was disconnected from everyone when he was on the far side of the moon during each orbit because of the moon's radio blocking effects on that side. The electromagnetic transmitter or receiver, and hence could not communicate with his colleagues, mission control, or anyone on Earth. This was a peculiar situation for Collins as he was the first person to venture to the moon's far side. Granted, he was only circling and did not step foot on this side of the moon. He remains the first person to catch a glimpse of the moon's far side completely alone. The Apollo 8 mission saw its crew orbiting the moon, but none came out of the spaceship. All the crew members orbited together and experienced the radio silence together. One can only wonder about the kind of discussion the men held while completely far side radio silent. It is radio quiet.
Guys.
This means it is free from any radio frequency or interference from human activity. This noise-canceling quality of the moon's far side makes it the perfect location for radio astronomies. This means that weak signals from the sun or any other location can be detected without worrying about interference from human activities. The same cannot be said for the moon's near side, which actually faces Earth. The near side experiences so much radio interference from Earth that trying to get a reading for other signals from the sun or anywhere else would be futile. The far side of the moon also lacks a substantial ionosphere. The ionosphere is a layer of charged particles in our upper atmosphere that can absorb or reflect cosmic radio sources. This radio silence and utter quiet have attracted some interest from several astronomers. In 2019, China, with the Chang'e 4 mission, was the first to land a rover on the moon's far side. The rover landed in the von Karman crater within the South Pole Aitken Basin on the moon's far side. One of the objectives of the Chang'e 4 mission was to conduct a low-frequency radio. The rover deployed astronomical observations using a small antenna. The lunar rover relies on a relay satellite that orbits the Earth-Moon L2 Lagrangian point. It is at this L2 point that gravitational forces are balanced. This balance allows the rover to communicate with the lander and the Earth. The far side of the moon is an interesting and mysterious place that offers unique opportunities for exploration, despite the communication challenges it poses. Collins was the first man to experience the intense solitude the moon's far side provides, and to him, it was moments of tranquility as he floated around in space.
And why exactly are we not attempting to launch some type of satellite?
Looking at the Earth from another vantage point. In the vastness of space, the silence
Elon, go, do your thing, bro.
Allowed him to look at things from a different perspective and truly appreciate the Earth for its beauty. In that period, Collins must have pondered how small he was in the large canvas of the universe. He often kept himself busy and focused on the success of the mission and the role he had to play in the Apollo 11 mission. He planned and calculated the docking process with his crew members in those periods and prepared intensely for the rendezvous. Collins recalls relishing the quiet moments and felt a strange sense of peace, awareness, and even satisfaction. For Collins, the solitude was a welcome escape from the usual bustle and intensity associated with a space mission. While orbiting the moon, Collins was made aware of one special view that only a few humans have had the privilege of witnessing. He saw the moon's far side in all its glory. The moon's far side is a rugged crater-filled landscape that has remained untouched and unseen from Earth. As Collins circled the moon, he would see the Earth rise along the lunar horizon.
Yeah, guys, if I recall, like NASA just pretty much recently released images of the dark side of the moon. So if that's your thing, make sure you guys go look at them.
A floating blue ball so small and fragile against the infinite expanse of space. It was an awe-inspiring experience for Collins, leaving an indelible mark on him. The unique, almost vulnerable view of Earth stirred feelings of profound connection and insignificance within Collins. Earth and all its billions of people were nothing but a tiny blue dot on the grand cosmic canvas.
Guys, it reminds me, like a while ago, when you guys sent me, I think about a year ago, I never actually used it, right? Hail Sagan as in Carl Sagan. Because I always used to kind of speak about, specifically how much I enjoyed thinking of us as somewhat of a pale blue dot, right? You know, if you actually could sit down and think of Earth in that manner and your problems in that manner, you'll realize that, guys, there are bigger things out there. And if you look at us as a tiny, minuscule, pale blue dot as seen through, I don't know, Saturn's rings, you'll start to kind of realize that, guys, insignificant. Whatever issues that exist, they may be extremely hard to deal with, et cetera, guys, right? But bro, there are bigger problems. There are people with bigger problems, and we are nothing more, let's say, than a pale blue dot, guys, right? So I can imagine, like, the first time in human history seeing that and understanding, you know, that before Carl Sagan basically called it a pale blue dot, right? I can imagine that feeling. I would love to experience that. I have that Carl Sagan's, like, what's the thing called, guys? You put it on your wall, a poster. Apologies. I have a poster of the pale blue dot specifically in my office. Right, I'm absolutely infatuated with the concept of it. And again, you know, hail Carl Sagan, guys. Absolutely. All right, let's continue.
This perspective is often referred to as the overview effect.
Yeah.
The experience of this effect shifted Collins's view of our planet and its place in the universe. On that mission, with such a thought-provoking view of the universe and the moments of silence to ponder what he had seen, Collins experienced an acute sense of the interconnectedness of all life on Earth. He understood that the planets are much more fragile than we know, and are quite small in the grand scheme of things.
Grand scheme? Oh, yeah.
These revelations instilled in Collins a fresh desire to protect the planet we call home, an enduring sense of environmental responsibility. And after the Apollo 11 mission, he became an ardent advocate for Earth conservation. He urged people to take better care of our delicate planet and stop doing things to upset the balance of nature. He expressed hope that someday all political leaders would view our world from his point of view. He hoped that
it'll never happen, bro.
View would influence our political leaders to make decisions that would protect our planet rather than destroy it. Furthermore, the solitude led Collins to grapple with existential questions, causing more paradigm shifts in his beliefs and reshaping his worldview. In his autobiography titled Carrying the Fire, Collins pondered the meaning of the universe and the role of human beings within it. The seemingly otherworldly experience shaped his belief in a universe designed with purpose and order. Before this journey into space, Collins was not an overly religious man, but his journey into space enhanced his spiritual outlook, emphasizing an organized cosmos rather than chaotic randomness. Being the loneliest man alive for nearly a day was never a burden to Michael Collins. He wore the station like a badge of honor. And what an honor it was, for in that journey Collins found the beauty in space and got to ponder questions that form the basis of life. Who are we? What is our role in the grand scheme of things? How best can we protect our world from imminent demise? These are the same fundamental questions that have plagued humanity for centuries.
That's over? Bro, good job on this here, guys. Right? I just want to point out, great job on this video here. I think that it was well put together. It was thoughtful, specifically in memory of Mike Collins. He's no longer with us, guys. Right? It's been a while now. Right? But great job on putting this together. I think it encapsulated specifically how exactly he felt, the loneliness that he experienced, guys. Because I can only imagine that feeling. Right? And I'm also glad that he understood it, because there are not many people that grasp it. I get it. They think that what they're going through is the biggest thing in the world, because that's just what they're experiencing at the moment. They can't kind of see the forest through the trees, if that makes any sense for you guys. Right? But in all actuality, guys, it's not the end of the world, right? Like, it's not. Like, we are nothing more than a pale blue dot, guys, and I mean that. Right? I mean that, dude, desperately. Right? But all right, guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think. You guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. If you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. All right? In the meantime, I'll catch you guys later.